My entire life, I've been a bit of an outcast. I've never been able to settle for the ideas that people used to would try to tell me about how things were and how things were supposed to be. You know, every single summer when I was a kid growing up, we used to go to San Diego to visit my grandparents. I grew up in a small town in Arizona, and you know, it was a population of about 30,000 or so, and you know, I remember when it was a big deal that the town was actually upgraded from being a town to becoming a city. Like there was this big celebration about it, and it was a tight-knit community. Everybody knew everybody. You couldn't go to the grocery store or heck, you couldn't go to the gas station without running into somebody that you know. You know, now it's probably a population of about 200,000 or so, but when I was a kid, it was a really small town. It was a small city. Welcome back to another episode of Sweat Talk. My name is Chad. When I was about 15 years old, my family, we made the trip to my grandparents' house in San Diego like we did every summer. But I'll never forget this one summer in particular. I was about 15 years old. And you know, we went to the beach, like, you know, it's kind of expected, right? But then when we were done at the beach, we went to this huge mall. It was an outdoor mall. It was called Horton Plaza. In fact, I don't think it's even a mall anymore. I think it's like a business complex now. But I digress. Shopping, it was never really my thing, but you know, you're a 15-year-old kid, so you're gonna go along with it anyway, right? So that summer, something in particular happened, something clicked. You know, you could call it an awakening, if you will. But I noticed something that summer that I had never noticed before. And it felt like I was living in like a real-time fashion show. You know, everywhere we went, it felt like everybody was putting on a performance. You know, it seemed like they were showing off in some way, shape, or form. Everybody, all around us. And it wasn't just the city or the location. It was more the energy. And the energy just, it felt fake. You know, everything was fake. It was like the people demanded fake, you know, nothing was authentic and nothing seemed real. But then when I got back to school, you know, this was my freshman year in high school. And when I got back to school, like I started to notice the same thing. I started to notice similar patterns. It felt like I was just another head of cattle or a sheep that was being corralled, just being molded and shaped to fit the system, you know, constantly being told to stay in line and to conform to that same system. I'm sure many of you guys can relate. You know, the pressure in high school, it was extremely intense, and you know, the idea that we needed to be molded to follow, and everybody had to go to college. You know, the counselors that we had, they were absolutely terrible. You know, they didn't see us as individuals, but more so, I felt more like I was just a number that was being pushed into the system. You know, I will never forget one of the counselors. She looked me dead in the eyes and flat ass told me that I would never amount to anything because I didn't feel like following the herd and going to college. Like that wasn't the path that I knew that I was destined for. So let that sink in for a minute, right? Like a system that's allegedly designed to encourage a student to find their true path in life was actively discouraging me because I didn't want to conform to their one-size-fits-all approach. But that moment, it stuck with me, and it was one of the first moments in my life that I can actually like vividly remember how much or how bad the system wants us to conform. So think about how that system thrives on obedience and how it rewards compliance and how it punishes people who dare question it. So here's the thing about that is it's not about compliance. It's not about following some predetermined path that somebody else laid out for you. I mean, I believe that life is about finding your own way. And I say that because if you spend your entire life just simply following the herd, you'll never understand what it truly means to live. You know, you'll spend your days just grazing on whatever it is that the world decides to give you, just moving in the same direction as everybody else and accepting the lies and believing all those false or bullshit narratives. But if you're able to step outside of the herd, then you'll be able to see the truth. You'll be able to see just how controlled and artificial everything is. And And in order to do that, then you have to be able to adapt the mindset of a wolf, right? Because the wolf doesn't just simply follow the herd, you know, they hunt, they lead, and they carve their own path. You know, a wolf, like they're loyal to their pack, but they don't rely on the world to give them some sort of some sense of purpose. I think that being a wolf, it means question everything, right? It means question, like, why are things the way that they are, or why are you being told to act the way that you're being told to act? And asking why, that's one of the most powerful and dangerous things that you could possibly do. It's dangerous because you threaten the very fabric that the system is created out of, but it's powerful because that's how you're going to be able to set yourself free. And we know this because think about the most impactful experiences of your life. Were they moments where you were following the herd and you just went along with everybody? Or were they moments where you decided to step outside of the box and carve your own way? Because the truth is that most people, they're too scared to ask questions. You know, they're afraid of what they might find. They're afraid of being judged. They're afraid of being ostracized. But here's the reality. If you want to be free, you can't live for other people's approval, and you can't care what the rest of the herd thinks. Being free, it means that you have to be bold enough to just walk away from the noise. You know, I learned this lesson the hard way too. For years, I let myself stay trapped, or I let myself get trapped by what other people thought that I should be. I let their opinions dictate my decisions, and I tried to fit into their mold. And even though deep down inside I knew that it wasn't for me, I knew that it wasn't right. And eventually I ended up hitting a breaking point where I realized that the more that I tried to conform, the more I lost myself. So here's the truth. The world does not want you to be yourself. The world wants you to be what it needs you to be, you know, a consumer, a follower, and just another cog in the wheel. But you don't have to play that game, you know. You can choose to live your life authentically. You can choose to live and think for yourself. And even though we like to say that we think for ourselves, you know, we don't. Even though we might think that thinking for ourselves, or we might believe that thinking for ourselves is easy, it's not. Thinking for yourself, it requires courage and resilience, and it requires you to be okay with standing alone. But it's worth it, because when you begin to think for yourself, then you're able to discover your true potential. You know, you realize that you don't need the herd, you don't need their validation, you don't need their approval. You only need one thing, and that's the will to carve your own path. So I'll ask you this, are you ready to be the wolf? You know, are you ready to break free from the lies and live a life of truth? It starts with one simple decision, and that's to question everything. Don't accept everything that you're told at face value. Don't just follow blindly. Don't let anyone tell you who you are and what you're capable of. Because the world is filled with people who are just people that are asleep. You know, people that are trapped in the illusion of what they think that they're supposed to be. People that are they're trapped in the illusion of what they think that they're capable of. And you don't have to be one of them. You know, you have the ability to wake up. You can see the truth. You can live life how you were meant to live. You know, bold, authentically, and unapologetically. But here's a harsh truth that most people don't want to admit, and that's the freedom comes at a cost. You know, when you break free from the herd, you are going to lose people. You're going to lose the ones who were comfortable with a version of you that fit their expectations. But in the end, you're going to end up gaining something that's more valuable, and that's yourself. You're going to gain your clarity. You're going to gain your self-confidence, and you'll gain a life that's yours, and not the life that somebody designed for you. You know, the world is going to constantly try to pull you back in. It's going to tempt you with promises of security and comfort, but those promises are empty. True freedom is not comfortable. It's uncertain and it's raw, but it's worth it. And the question is, do you have the courage to claim it? You know, many people, they live their lives as spectators, right? They just sit around and waiting and watching and hoping that somebody else is going to give them permission to be themselves. But life doesn't give you permission slips. If you want anything out of life, then you have to be willing to go take it. You have to make the choice to question everything. You have to choose to think for yourself, to live authentically, and to be the wolf. And when you do, then you'll realize that the life that you were meant to live has been there waiting for you all along. But it starts with that decision to break free from the herd and embrace your true nature. So if you made it this far, do me a favor and go in the comments and write the word wolf. Just that one word, wolf. You know, we have to be the wolf. We have to think like the wolf, you know, sitting up on the grassy knoll and observing the herd, just watching the herd get corralled by the sheepdogs, telling them where to go, what to do, how to eat, what to eat, when to eat, where to eat, because we have the choice. We can choose to sit back and watch everybody just scramble and panic, or we can observe and we can think for ourselves and provide for ourselves however we want to, however we see fit. You know, I keep seeing it in the comments section. People are saying that some people can't get ahead, or they have some sort of that the system is against them, and you know, that's what sparked the interest in this video, is all of those comments, the people that are saying that the system is against them. I'm not denying the system is against us, because I know, I understand, and I believe that the system is against us. But if the system is against you, then that means that you can beat the system. If you know that the system is there, then why in the hell do you continue to conform to that system? If you know that somebody, that your opponent is going to come and kick your ass, are you going to study your opponent, or are you going to let your opponent kick your ass? Look at the professional fighters. Look at all of the professional athletes in the world. They study their opponent. They study their adversary so that their adversary can't get the best of them. And as long as you become the wolf that's sitting on the grassy knoll just watching the system, and all of these sheep and all of these cattle run around and panic and losing their shit and conforming to that system that is designed to beat them, as long as you're the wolf, you don't have a care in the world. So I ask for these one-word comments because they do a couple of things. When we see something powerful over and over and over, it helps us reprogram our subconscious mind. And it allows us the opportunity to think differently, because it'll shift our perspective through our subconscious mind. You know, we're able to create those new pathways through neuroplasticity, right? That's how we change our perspective. That's how we shift our way of thinking, is seeing something that's powerful over and over and over and embracing it and feeling it. And then it also helps out the channel, because every time somebody comments, likes, and subscribes, then it helps push this content out to somebody who might find value in it as well. And another way that you guys can support the channel, if you want to, is head over to our new store, check out our supplements and our Sweat Talk swag that we have over there. The link will be in the description. And understand that we appreciate each and every one of you. I want to say thank you to those guys, to every one of you guys that have been sending those super thanks. It means the absolute world to us. Your generosity is unworldly, and I deeply appreciate it. So that's all I got for today, guys. I want to thank you for showing up. I hope that you guys are showing up for yourselves, and I hope that each and every one of you has a wonderful day. Peace.